can see Councillor Forster raising hand. Yes, Councillor Forster.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just want to join others in congratulating the officers for their amazing work and presentation this evening, both Brendan and Julie, but also all the officers behind the scenes. I just want to talk about what has led to this point, what happens next, and finally I want to speak about, to be honest, what's the most important issue, the impact on local people. And having spoken to them a lot over the last few weeks and months, I believe people are really angry, disappointed and fearful for the future. I think that's possibly where the mental place I am and a lot of other councillors are as well. Earlier this month, The Guardian said, I quote, "Previous Tory leadership embarked on risky investment spree involving hotels and skyscrapers." And they're right. But doing regeneration and investing in our town centre and our deprived community in Shearwater was not a mistake in principle. Residents weren't wrong. We shouldn't go up to residents and say that you were wrong for wanting investment in those places. People wanted to bring Marks and Spencer's back to the town centre. Don't think we should say to people they were wrong for wanting that. However, as the officer reports have outlined, there was a complete failure of leadership from the previous regime to carry out these projects. The scope and scale of the work grew without being backed up by the resources. There was a failure to have adequate business plans, failure to control costs and a failure to manage risks. It was a failure of leadership. The Leader of the Council, in her statement, I lost count of the amount of times when she was talking about the previous council, the amount of times she mentioned failure, weak and lack of. And those are the issues that has brought us here today. All of that is why I'm pleased the Council in these papers is commissioning a value for money review into the investment strategy and actions of the previous leadership. Holding an independent review, I think, is critical, as since the government intervention was announced in late May and following the news that the Council is unable to balance its budget recently, local people have quite rightly wanted to understand how a small borough council reached an over £1 billion deficit. A small borough council. This council cannot afford the legacy of debt that we've inherited. And I want to give 3 facts to demonstrate that. Our interest is 6 times the value of our council tax, what we make from council tax. We spend £170,000 a day in interest. And if someone went to get a mortgage for £10,000, so if our debt was equivalent to a mortgage, it would be getting £10,000 of a salary for £1 million worth of mortgage. That's completely out of the scale. We need to start discussions with the government soon to seek financial support, as officers have been clear that the council has no means of funding the financial deficit on its own. But I understand that we need to earn the trust of the government and regain the trust of our residents. As Brendan has said, we need to put our own house in order and clearly show that we can live within our means in the future. Finally, Mr Mayor, our residents. The Lib Dems and I are honoured that voters have put their trust in us to try to turn around Woking Borough Council. It is going to be incredibly difficult to make those impossible decisions to balance the books, but Councillor Barker outlined some of the ways we intend to do it. And I hope this is something we all can agree on. We cannot, should not and must not stop core services that people rely on. Bins will still be collected, we will still support the homeless, and residents will still get their planning applications approved. Above all, we need to protect vulnerable people. And actually, issuing a Section 114 does do that, and it sets us on the road to recovery. Thank you, Mr Mayor.